Right, so here we go again. I going to replace the tensioner and the drive belt on my BMW E61 with the N52 engine. I did the small disvalve last week, and I noticed when I put everything back together that my my belt is just sitting slightly forward on the tensioner, and I've got a feeling that it might be a bit worn and sort of maybe leaning over a bit. It's as far as what it slipped off or slipping forward, it's just permanently staying like that, and it might have been like that for a long time, but I know how to take all this off now. I've loosened this top cover, which I'm about to flip, and then I'll proceed to get into removing things, so I'll keep you posted. So next you have to very carefully unclip these three from this pipe and move that out of the way so you're not going to catch it or break it. Apparently these are quite prone to breaking, but mine looks like it's in pretty good nick, touch wood. So next thing is to remove these screws that hold the cover over the fan, and I'll be removing the fan to enable better access to the drive belt. Right, so as you can see, we're down to here, fan, and down the side there's a tab that pops in and out, and I'll show you that in detail a bit more later. And as you pull it out, you just have to slowly unclip the water pipes and also obviously disconnect the electrical connector. Okay, so that's out. This is the flap I was talking about. So before you start pulling it out, you just move that around and it gives you a bit more clearance. Just a little trick of my own. I hate dropping things. I've got a fear of dropping things down into the engine bay, and of course the old days I just used to drop right through and land on the ground, but not so bad at the moment because I've got lots of clear space. But if you've got everything in place and you drop a socket or a Torx bit down there, good luck getting it out. So this is a 1/4 inch with an adapter to a 1/3 inch for the T60, and it doesn't really lock in place like it does with the breaker bar, so it's quite easy to knock it off, or it gets stuck in the T60 in here, and then you knock it off and it falls down. So just a little bit of tape is not a bad idea. Okay, I've slipped that belt off. All you have to do is just put some clockwise tension on the tensioner, and then I slip the belt off the actual tensioner itself. On the N52 in an E60 or E61, there's not much clearance between where it slips onto the alternator pulley and the water pipe here, so it's really tight, and that's why when I did my small disser, which is underneath the intake manifold, you can see that video. I'll put a link in the description above. I lost my trail of thought. Oh, this happens a lot more as you get older. What was I saying? I have no idea. Yeah, so very tight gap, and when I did all this I had to remove this because you have to remove the alternator and the air box or the air intake to get into the small disser. It's just another way of doing it, and because I removed the alternator I had to take the belt off, and it was really hard, so that's why I ended up doing all this the first time to get the belt back on, and that's when I've discovered this. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the new one's like compared to the old one. So here's the old belt. It's actually in pretty good nick, the actual belt itself. Doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it, but can't see any brand name on there. It's worn off, but the idea is when you replace the tensioner is that you marry that up with a new belt as well. It's just apparently good practice, so that's what we're doing. So we've got female or E Torx size 14, and that goes on the Torx bit in the tensioner there. Okay, here we have the old one and the new one. You'll see that they come with a pin in them, which goes through the two holes there. As the tension's on, it keeps that tension in place. You do have to put a little bit more tension on just as you're slipping the belt back on. Well, at least I did with this one anyway. So yeah, we'll put the new one on, torque it up. I've got the torque specs, which I've written down: 25 Newton meters plus a 90-degree. I just noticed, I don't know if you can see, but down there it is literally half full of bugs, and I'm going to try and suck that out somehow before I proceed, because it's really disgusting and it really stinks. Okay, that's torqued up, 25 Newton meters and a 90-degree turn. Okay, that's on. Used my my trusty diagram, and interestingly, when I put the old one back on before, when I was doing the disser, it wouldn't just slip on with the grenade pin in place. It needed more tension, so this time I've just been able to slip it straight on. So that's an interesting development, because it might mean that the pulley on the tensioner is sitting where it should be. Time will tell. So there's your pin that you pull out, and I'm going to keep that because if I ever need to, I won't keep it in there, but if I ever need to get into this, you can just use an Allen key or anything really, but might as well keep that pin, and one day when I need it, I'll have absolutely no idea where it is. I'll use an Allen key, which is actually still in the car from last time. So yeah, the belt's on. Just check everything's all lined up with your grooves. This is a genuine BMW belt. I didn't want to skimp on that, although the tensioner is Bilstein, and I don't think there's anything wrong with their parts at all. The small disser that I replaced is Bilstein. The large disser is a BMW one, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I still haven't solved the problem of how to get all the dead bug carcasses out of there. It is literally filled up to halfway, so I'm going to work on that. I'll go get my vacuum cleaner and a stick and lightly prod it and see if I can get them out, because it explains the god-awful stench. You wouldn't believe it, man. Like, I actually hit roadkill once, I think, in this car, and I'm digressing, but I got some roadkill trapped up in the wheel arch somewhere, and it actually came out one very humid day and had maggots crawling across the hood of my car. Oh, it's just full of that. It's not just bugs, it's dirt, leaves. Done that. Right, so that's that back in place. It's a bit tricky. As you slide it in, you've got to feed the hoses back into the clips that are there. I did lose a breaker clip, unfortunately, which I'm not going to worry about. It's for a pipe that's down there, and that pipe's not catching on anything or doing anything nasty, hopefully. So it's just a matter of putting it all back together again in the reverse order. Much better with all that cleaned out. I can't believe there's still a horrible smell coming out of there. I might actually give it a wash, but I can't believe that design, how that can just trap all sorts of crap in there basically and smell so bad, and it must be reducing the efficiency of how this works. I mean, come on BMW, I hope they've improved on this with the newer cars. They've had 15 years to do that, so And don't forget to clip this baby back in carefully. They say keep one of these on hand just in case it breaks, but I guess I struck it lucky. And don't forget to plug your electrical connector back in. By the way, I have disconnected the battery, just the negative terminal off the back, just as a safety precaution. Should be fine, but it doesn't hurt to disconnect your battery for a while, so yeah. So it's good news, the belt is staying exactly where it should on the tensioner. So if your Serpentine belt is slipping on your tensioner, then you need to do what I just did and change it for a new one. Done. And I cleaned all that filthy, disgusting insect carcass mess out as well. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm making a few more of these videos these days. I am an artist, and this started off as my art YouTube channel, or wherever you're watching it, and I bought this BMW a couple of years ago, or about 2.5 years ago, and I've sort of reignited, I guess, a passion for cars and mechanics, and where I think we're becoming a bit more appreciative of, you know, even though this is a 15-year-old car, the technology has reached such a peak and everybody wants it to end. So I've kind of, it's reignited my passion for anything automotive. So yeah, I do the odd little DIY video, car meets. I'm going to a car track day, or actually a race day tomorrow, and a BMW meet on Sunday. So yeah, there'll be more content coming up. So if you like it, subscribe, and you hit the old bell button, and might catch you at the next video. Thanks for watching. And thank you, Pelican Parts, for the keychain or keyring. Very cool. Those guys are great. I've used Pelican Parts a couple of times, non-affiliated, and boy do they deliver. It was a little bit slow this time because it was Easter, but I've had things delivered faster from them than what I have internally within New Zealand. So the disavow that I got, that was 6 days from California to the Bay Plenty, New Zealand. Nice one.